Okay, let's look at reverse repo rate. Since we already learned what repo rate is, this is pretty easy to understand. What is repo rate? Bank has to repurchase the pledged asset from the RBI by paying back the borrowed money plus a rate of interest, right? Reverse the players, you get reverse repo rate. That's it. RBI has to repurchase the pledged asset from the bank by paying back the borrowed money plus a rate of interest. That rate of interest is your reverse repo rate. Okay. Before we go to the practical explanation, do keep one thing in mind. Under reverse repo rate conditions, the bank plays the role of a lender to both the RBI and the general public. Okay, so because of this, in a business perspective, the banks would prefer to lend more money to the entity which gives them more profit. You will understand why I am telling this specifically. Okay, let's look at it in the practical explanation. Now think the bank has $20 million to spend or to lend to the RBI. The RBI has assets which can pledge. So the RBI will pledge the assets for the $20 million. Okay. Now the RBI has to repurchase this pledged asset, right? Because it is reverse repo condition. So the RBI will repurchase the pledged asset by paying back the borrowed money, which is 20 million plus a rate of interest. Since this is a normal condition, we'll assume the rate of interest as, you guessed it, $5 million. Okay, so this comes to a total of $25 million that the RBI has to pay back to repurchase the pledged asset. How does this affect the common man? We have to notice one part of it. The bank is lending to the RBI from its overall lending capacity, which means, say the bank has $30 million, okay, which is the overall amount this bank can lend to anyone. The bank, since it has lent $20 million to the RBI already, how much is left? Only $10 million. So, in normal conditions, the bank has only $10 million it can spare for the general public, which means a common person can only borrow to a maximum of 10 million, beyond which the bank doesn't have. Okay, so this is how a normal reverse repo rate affects your general public. We know there are two things that can happen. Reverse repo rate can go up or it can go down. Let's see what happens when reverse repo rate goes up. What is reverse repo rate? It's an interest rate. So when reverse repo rate goes up, the interest paid by RBI increases. So the RBI, when it's repurchasing the pledged asset, is paying 20 million plus an interest rate. Since reverse repo rate went up, the RBI is paying a total of $28 million. Clear? Now the bank, as a lender, when it looks at this transaction, it realizes that it is making a lot more profit. Okay? For every 20 million, the bank is making $8 million, which in a normal scenario would only be 5 million. So what does the bank decide? This entity would give it more profit. So out of the total 30 million the bank can lend to anyone, the bank, when reverse repo rate is increased, would lend to the RBI $25 million. Remember the point I told you earlier? Any entity which gives more profit would get lent more money, right? So under reverse repo rate being increased, bank makes more profit by lending to the RBI, which means bank will decide to lend 25 million out of its overall 30 million capacity to RBI itself. What is left? $5 million. So the common folk can only borrow up to $5 million total. Okay, so even if the public wants to borrow more than 5 million, the bank doesn't have. Why? Because it decided to lend more money to the RBI because reverse repo rate has been increased, making this transaction more profitable compared to this transaction. Clear? Now what happens when reverse repo rate goes down? Okay, when reverse repo rate goes down, interest rate goes down, which means the amount of interest RBI pays to repurchase the pledged asset goes down. So of course, in this scenario, RBI is only paying $22 million, which is 20 million borrowed amount plus 2 million interest. Why such low interest? Because reverse repo rate went down. So when the bank looks at this from a lender perspective, it realizes this is not profitable, which means out of the 30 million, the bank will only lend RBI $15 million in this scenario. Okay, which means that the general public now has $15 million it can borrow. So when reverse repo rate is decreased, banks would lend more money to the public than to the RBI because this is more profitable. But when reverse repo rate is increased, banks would lend more money to the RBI than the general public because this is more profitable. This is how the Monetary Policy Committee increase and decrease the reverse repo rate to control the supply of money in the economy. Got it? Now with this, we have understood how repo rate and reverse repo rate works. Have a good day. Thank you.